Educating Geeks, the show where geeks help geeks discover new passions. I'm geek host Bree, and joining us today is guest geek host.
I'm Nick.
And I'm Megan.
And I'm Alice.
And today we are going to be doing our Halloween special, Treehouse of Horror,
Ooh.
which is kind of definitive of my childhood Halloween.
Yeah.
The rest of it.
I think if you are a kid of the 90s, the Simpsons Treehouse of Horror episode was a ritual at Halloween for quite a while.
Because in the 90s, it actually occurred around Halloween.
And it was actually good, too.
Well, yeah. And now because...
Tell us how you really feel, Megan.
But Fox has the baseball contract now. So it
Oh.
basically... I was looking this up. I haven't followed the Treehouse of Horror for many, many years. But now because of the contract that they have with MLB to show Sunday night shows, most of the Treehouses of Horror air in November. Which
Oh, really?
What?
That's sad.
That's
that
terrible.
kind of ruins it.
That's terrible.
I'm very
I'm
disappointed.
offended. So offended you forgot to know that it was a problem in the first place.
I don't watch The Simpsons anymore. And also, I'm going to be that person. I don't own a TV.
Well, we've gone that far
How
off the rails
progressive of
already.
you, Bree.
Okay, so today we're going to be talking about our favorite, not episodes, but actually bits from each episode.
Yeah.
So
Because there's a lot to choose from. So for people who haven't watched much Treehouse of Horror, each episode is a collection of tiny little horror stories.
Usually three.
Yes,
Yeah.
usually three. So we're all picking our favorites from within all of the little bits. Yeah. So who wants to start? Who wants to bring up their first one?
I'll bring up my absolute favorite that, for some reason, I've seen the most out of any of them. It's The Devil and Homer Simpson.
That one's
Treehouse-
really good.
Yeah, Treehouse of Horror 4 is just the episode that I've seen a million times.
So what are the
too.
other ones on that one? I think it's Terror
Well,
from 5.5 Feet,
Which
right?
is my favorite. And then
Yeah.
the other one is Bart Simpson's Dracula, where they think that Mr. Burns
Oh,
is a
okay.
vampire.
Which has
Yeah.
the best ending, I think. And okay, so The Devil and Homer Simpson. Basically, what happens is Homer wants a donut so bad that he says he would sell his soul for a donut, and then
And the Devil Flanders comes to
which
make
is
it
so
happen.
perfect that it's
Yeah.
Flanders.
Yeah, he's like, it's always the one you least suspect.
Right, yeah.
And what happens is he tries to renege on his deal by not eating the last bite of the donut.
Yeah.
But then he's Homer, so in the middle of
Right.
the night he's like, forbidden donut. And just it goes through him going to hell for a day.
Yeah.
And they just couldn't torture him because they tried to feed him
Yeah.
all the donuts,
All the donuts in the world.
He kept asking for
That was
more.
in the ironic punishment department.
Yes.
Yeah.
And The Simpsons is always so good about this, but I think in the Halloween episodes, they had such good, the little labels, the signs on the door, and all the things on the
The
graveyards.
chef's
Yeah.
The
apron saying
filler.
Hell's Kitchen.
Yeah, like all those
Yeah.
little asides that they do throughout, a ton of the episodes, but they were always so good in these. They had,
Yeah.
they had such good stuff to play off of.
Yeah.
So they're holding a trial, right? Because he's still trying to get out of the contract, so they're holding a trial.
Right, Lisa
Yeah.
insists that he has to
Yeah.
get a fair trial.
Right.
Otherwise, it's not fair.
You Americans.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, that's what Devil Flanders says.
Yeah. And ultimately,
I know, Lisa's the best.
they ultimately decide that since on the back of his wedding photo he says, "My soul is the only thing I can give to you, Marge. It belongs to you forever," that the devil can't have Homer's soul. So instead they turn his head into a donut.
That's right. And there's always birds
And
picking
yeah,
on it,
they're
right?
like coming up eating
And
little
he's,
chunks
like,
off,
And he's
like
eating.
pulling chunks off his
what-
head.
Oh, I have a favorite quote. It's Homer, "Stop picking at it." And he says, "Oh, but I'm so sweet and tasty."
I love the shot in that episode where they have him eating, the donut eating machine, where they're like,
Yeah.
they have these rows and rows of donuts that they're just forcing into his mouth, and they do a jump cut, and he's
Yeah.
just getting fatter and fatter and fatter, and there's nothing that they can
As they
do.
keep forcing him to eat the donuts too, he just goes, "More."
Yeah,
Ow, ow.
it's such a good visual.
Who wrote that episode?
Oh my gosh, I didn't even know.
I was looking that up.
The internet.
Because I have it right. Because Treehouse of Horror 4 is my favorite one. Actually, Conan O'Brien wrote some of that.
He was a writer on Simpsons for quite a while.
The way.
Well, that's why I was wondering, because I definitely.
His picture was on the Wikipedia.
Mm-hmm. Look at there.
Yep.
The goodness or the badness of many Simpsons episodes for me are based on who was involved in writing them.
Greg Daniels wrote this, as did Conan O'Brien, and then a couple other dudes whose names I don't recognize.
Right.
Bill Oakley, Josh Weinstein, Dan McGrath, Bill Canterbury. And the thing that I love, I know we're talking about individual pieces, but I think Treehouse of Horror 4 is the one that I've seen most frequently because somebody that I went to grade school with had like a VHS tape of this.
Oh, really?
Oh.
And for some reason, it was one of those things.
Note VHS tape.
I'm sorry.
Yeah.
For you young people.
Yeah. They're gonna hear
Or
this in a time
DVDs.
capsule like 10 years. You might have no idea what it is. I heard recently that it was the anniversary of the cassette tape, and I was like, how many people are alive right now that don't know what a cassette tape is?
A lot.
But-
That's the sad truth.
So somebody had Treehouse of Horror 4 on a VHS tape, and every year, for like probably 3 or 4 years in a row, he would bring it in and somehow convince our teacher, the last day, on Halloween or the
Really?
last day before Halloween that we should watch this. At like, this like Catholic school too.
Wow.
I'm like, I don't know how he got away with this every single year, but I remember that so distinctly that like 3 or 4 years in a row we would watch this. So that's why this one is
That's
my favorite,
pretty
because I would
awesome.
see it over and over. Every single
Right.
year I'd watch this one.
That guy's a CEO of a company.
Yeah, right. Exactly.
And they also
It's very
have a
persuasive.
disclaimer that say like young kids.
Not appropriate
Yeah,
for
they did.
children. Well, fourth graders aren't that young. I don't know.
Yeah.
You mentioned the VHS tape. I think we actually had a lot of these. We recorded a lot of these.
Mhm.
That was part of the ritual when it was Treehouse of Horror Night, was we would pop in the VHS and record it. So we had a handful of them on VHS that we would pop in and watch from time to time. We started we would do a marathon of them from the ones that we had recorded when Fox didn't always used to do a marathon before they aired the new
Yeah.
one.
Mhm.
So yeah, we would make our own.
And now they'd have to do a day-long marathon,
Yeah.
basically,
Yeah.
if they wanted to
For
show them all.
some reason, this one just always came up in rotation, even off season. Like I would just randomly see it replaying,
Huh.
and it's just the one I've seen most.
For me, season 1, Treehouse of Horrors 1 and Treehouse of Horrors 2 are the two that I remember the most.
I think one I remember a lot because we definitely had that one on tape and we watched that one a lot. And actually, that's a good segue into mine. If we want to go into mine,
Yeah.
my top pick is The Raven.
Featuring the
Featuring
illustrious voice
James
talents.
Earl Jones as the
Yeah.
narrator.
Yeah.
But the way that first of all, it is one of the best ports of The Raven to a visual medium that I've ever seen. They are actually really true to the source material. A lot of other ones that I've seen, they cut out entire stanzas, or they're just not really true to the source material, and I love Poe. But I love how James Earl Jones narrates, and then the Simpsons characters come in with the dialogue.
Mhm.
So James Earl Jones leads in, and Homer says, "Sir," said I, "or madam." Certainly your forgiveness I implore. I actually know a lot of The Raven thanks to The Simpsons.
Yeah.
But it's really funny. It's really sweetly done. And I love how at the end Bart says, "That's not even scary, even for a poem." So they have this whole conversation about how, oh yeah, things used to be much tamer back then, and they climb out of the treehouse. And Homer has been listening outside on a branch, and he's absolutely terrified by the Raven. He's just sitting there like, oh, God, oh, God, as they climb out of the treehouse.
Well, and I love when Lisa says, like, well, I guess things used to be a lot tamer back then. And Bart's response is, oh, like how Friday the 13th Part 1 is, like, no big deal now.
It's pretty tame by today's standards.
Which,
yeah.
like, I mean, how many years after Friday the 13th Part 1 did that episode even happen?
Actually,
like, it
that's a
couldn't have
good
been that
question.
far.
In 1980 is when Friday the 13th. So it was,
So,
it was a
10 whole
year.
years later. Oh, back in the day, it was way tamer.
10 years ago was what, 2003 for us.
Ugh, that does.
Seems like
Okay,
a
that
while.
doesn't.
That-
Shut up with your perspective.
So you said, Nick, that your favorite was also from 4.
Yeah, 4 is great, and 4 I love the way they did the frame for it. They did it like the old the Night Gallery episodes where
Yeah.
Rod Serling would come out
Favorite
and walk through,
Yeah.
and Homer's trying to be all creepy and Rod Serling-y, and Marge comes in and is like, here, hold the baby, like totally rude. It's great, but so my favorite is Terror at 5.5 feet. Which,
that is a great one.
if anybody's seen Nightmare at 20,000 Feet, which is Bill Shatner's infamous, actually,
Oh,
is it?
well,
It was on
yes.
Twilight Zone, where
Yes.
he's this
Yeah.
passenger on the plane who has like a history of being kind of crazy, and he sees this gremlin out on the
It's
wing.
like this big monkey dude.
It's really
Yeah.
It's a
really,
great episode
the
of the
picture
Twilight
here.
Zone.
It looks like this guy has like a horror mask on. And his face is kind of melted on the original one with William Shatner.
That's
in it.
a hilarious
It's so
picture.
not scary. And William Shatner he's making this scrunched up Shatnery face of like, I'm so afraid, but I must not look. So it's a knockoff of that where Bart is riding the school bus and he sees this little gremlin who's crawling out on the side of the bus.
And that gremlin is creepy.
It's really
This one actually
yeah,
used
it
to
is
scare
really
me as a
creepy
kid.
looking.
Yeah.
So he's like scratching at the wheels, and he's like undoing the lug nuts of the wheel, and he's like pulling out wiring, and Bart keeps he's trying to convince Milhouse that he should look over and see out the window and see that this gremlin's there. And my favorite line, which I wrote down, is Skinner is riding the bus that morning because, as he says, my wife took my car keys away because she caught me talking on the phone to another woman, and she was right to do it. So Skinner's on the bus while Bart's having this freak out. Nobody believes.
Right.
And he comes over and he says, "No, I've gotten word that a child's using his imagination, and I've come to put a stop to it." And Bart's like, "No, there's a monster on the bus." And Skinner goes, "The only monster on this bus is a lack of proper respect for the rules."
Skinner is always
Which-
one of the best.
I-
I love that character.
My
Such
dad's
a good
actual
character.
high school principal was named Skinner.
Oh,
Like,
really?
way before The Simpsons. It's
That's
like,
pretty
wow, That's
awesome.
pretty great.
Well, there's another great line too when Bart is trying to get Milhouse to look out the window.
Yeah.
He's like, "I opened myself up to wedgies, wet willies, and the dreaded rear admiral." It's like, I don't know what a rear admiral is.
I don't want to know.
Don't
But clearly
wanna know.
Milhouse
Ew.
knows, and he
Yes.
remains traumatized.
Poor Milhouse.
So, and it sort of mimics the actual Twilight Zone episode where everybody thinks he's crazy, and they take Bart off in a straight jacket, and he's in a stretcher, and then they see the bus, and the whole side of it's torn up, and the wheel falls off, and so Bart's going away, to the sanitarium or whatever
Right.
in the car. And he's like, okay, well, finally I'll get a little peace and quiet. And then the gremlin pops up on the back window of the van, and that's the end of it. So
Oh.
it's, oh my God.
That's
it's
a
so
great
funny.
one.
And the gremlin actually kills Flanders.
Yes.
Bart, so
He
and the
holds
other great,
Flanders' head up.
so the other great thing is Bart looks under his seat, and there's a box labeled "Bus Emergency Flares." Which I want to ride on the school bus that's equipped with emergency flares. So he goes, and the box is empty because I forget what they're doing.
They're all in Ralph's pants.
Oh, that's right.
Oh, that's
Like the
right,
bullies
yeah.
have stuck them in Ralph's pants.
That's
so he
right.
pulls one out, and he gets the gremlin off the bus, and it lands on Flanders' car, and it kills. Flanders runs it over, and he's like, "Oh no, it's injured." And then at the end of the episode, he's like holding up Flanders' disembodied head.
Yeah, Flanders falls in love with the little gremlin as
Yeah,
he's holding
he's
it and
gonna take
protecting
care
it.
of
Well, I tried to claw my eyes out.
How
That's
cute.
sweet. Yeah. Oh, that's a great line. I forgot about. And this one has a good Mole Man appearance too, because Bart tries to get Otto's attention about the gremlin on the side of the bus. So Otto looks out and he sees Mole Man driving in his car. and that's-
Driving an AMC gremlin.
Yeah. Oh, good.
Yeah.
Yes. Okay. I never caught that.
Uh-huh.
But yeah, Otto's like, "All right, little dude, I'll take care of it." So he runs the Mole Man off the road, who doesn't crash into the tree,
But does explode.
but does explode.
And just after he gets hit, I think his line is like, "Oh, I just paid it off."
I just made my last payment.
Oh,
Poor
goodness.
Mole Man.
So I love that one because I love the original Twilight Zone episode with the
That
the
is
gremlin
such
on
a
the
great
thing. It's
Twilight
so
Zone.
cheeseball, but it's really
Yes.
well done.
It's a really faithful remake of that Twilight Zone
Mhm.
episode. It's a really good one.
Yeah, but I think I mean, 4, just by virtue of having seen it so many times, I love. But I love when they're, they go through Springfield Graveyard at the beginning and they pan past all the different headstones. And one of them says, Elvis, accept it. And I wrote these down.
Brilliant.
I had forgotten about these, so I wrote them down. And the other one of them says, a balanced budget. And the other one says, subtle political satire.
Those are always really good.
Like all those little moments that
Yeah.
when you're 10 years old and you're watching these, you don't get it, but you watch them again and you're like, wow, that was really,
clever and smart.
And I think that's what is so great about, especially early episodes of The Simpsons. Like, kids were watching it and they thought it was funny because, haha, Bart was skateboarding around and telling people to eat his shorts, like in The Raven.
Right.
Quote The Raven,
yes,
eat my shorts.
Eat my shorts.
But there were so many things that when you're a little bit older and you watch them, you pick up on all this stuff. It gives you so much more of an appreciation for the writing.
Yeah.
I think.
So for as we've been through this with me a bajillion times, right? So in the 90s, for me, that's college.
Mhm.
Right.
So I started watching The Simpsons in college. So I
Yeah.
was that age. So, and that's why I love this show so much. Blah, was because to me it was some of the most clever social commentary on television at the time.
Oh, yeah,
It
absolutely.
was just the best social commentary. It was so sharp and well written,
Mhm.
and it just didn't
And
last forever.
It's just so
The show
in
has-
cultural references.
Yeah. Well, and
For
some of
sure.
them are so classical too, and that's kind of what I loved about the show was all the really classical references that
Mhm.
have kind of
Well, and they
come
pulled
out of
from
the show.
everything, right? I
Yeah.
mean, they pulled from the Bible, for God's sake,
Yeah, they
all
did.
the time.
They
Yeah.
did, yeah.
So, they got their material from just about everywhere.
Mhm.
Yeah. So for me, the first two, my favorite is Hungry Are the Damned, which is the Kang, and what's the
Yeah.
other one's name?
Konos.
Kang and, yes,
Konos.
Kang and Konos who come and love the scene where they're going to take the cat and the dog at the beginning when they're sucking them up into the spaceships. But for me, one of the other things I really appreciated about The Simpsons, other than the social commentary, was all the except I can't talk.
That's what editing's for.
it's getting
Clever plays on words and word plays. So like the whole bit
oh
with
the book.
Yes,
Yeah.
that Lisa's holding, and they're like, how to cook humans. No, it's how to cook for humans. No, it's
Yeah.
how to cook 40
40
humans. No,
humans.
it's how to cook for 40 humans. I just love all of that really clever language play that they
Yeah, and that one's from Treehouse of Horror 1. I'm looking at the list of all of the ones from that, and that one's a really solid one, too, because that one has Bad Dream House, Hungry Are the Damned, which is another one of my favorite, and then The Raven.
Yeah.
Yeah. That was a good that was the first one.
It set the stage. Monkey's Paw, I think, which is from the second one, is another one. of my favorite
That one's got the
ones.
Frogurt joke.
Yeah.
The Frogurt is also cursed.
No, that's the Krusty the Clown doll one. I have
Oh,
that.
Oh.
that one
Oh.
has
called
one of my
Clown Without Pity.
That one has one of my all-time favorite Homer Simpson scenes where he's in the bathtub washing up and he's singing his
Me
song.
too.
My baloney has a first name. It's Homer. My baloney has a second name. It's Homer. It's not Simpson. It's Homer again.
Homer.
And then he gets attacked by the Krusty doll, and he goes running through the house naked, trying to get away from the Krusty doll. And he runs past Marge and Patty and Selma eating in the kitchen. And it's either Patty or Selma drops her fork and says, "There goes the last lingering thread of my heterosexuality."
Oh my goodness.
Well, one of the other ones that I had kind of rediscovered that I had forgotten was, and it was in Treehouse 5. They did the takeoff on The Shining, and they kept calling
I
it.
love
They kept
it.
calling it The
We
Shinning.
were just talking
Yeah.
about that.
So when
yeah.
I was looking up some of these and kind of reminding myself of ones that I'd seen before, and I'd forgotten about that, and I saw it written, a lot of places online as The Shinning, and I was like, why did they?
You want to
why-
get sued?
Yeah, so I went back and I found it online, and I was watching it, and so Willie's the caretaker, and Bart's coming through his maze like they had outside the big hotel in The
Yeah, yeah.
Shining. And he's just going through with oh my god, it's late at
Sign.
night. He has a
A hedge trimmer.
Oh, yes, he's
Or
got a
a-
hedge
yeah,
trimmer.
he's got one of
Going
those.
across.
I woke up early
I'm
today.
leaving that in,
He's
by the
he's
way.
going through with a I hope you leave that in. I was proud of my sound effect. and he just cuts holes and walks a straight line
Oh,
through the
yeah,
hedge and comes out.
I
And
remember
Willie's there
that.
with this like little tin watering can, like watering the hedges. He's like, "Hey, I found a shortcut through your maze." But they're, they're communicating telepathically, and he's like, "It's called the shinning." And Bart goes, "Don't you mean the shining?" He's like, "Do you want to get sued, boy?" And then they have the whole scene where Marge walks in, and she's worried that Homer is going crazy because it's Burns' mansion that they're caretakers of, and
That's right.
he cut the cable TV and he took out all the beer, so Homer's losing his mind. And Marge has the scene like in The Shining where she walks up to the typewriter and she looks and she's like, "Okay, well, I'll see if this is a sign of his mental state," and it says, "Feeling all right." And then you look on all the walls behind her, and he's scrawled all over them, "No beer and no TV make Homer go crazy." And it's actually, I mean, I love The Shining, and I love Jack Nicholson. It's a really good, it takes a nice, gentle dig at Nicholson's overacting in The Shining. And the scenes where he starts to go crazy, and he's confronting his wife, he's just openly like, blah, 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 and just being completely, and watching it, I felt a little bit bad how much I was laughing at it, because I love The Shining and I love Nicholson in that movie, but it was pretty on point for some
It
of
really
it.
was, yeah.
Marge was also an excellent stand-in for the wife.
Oh, yeah.
yeah.
Because they're basically the same.
Yeah.
Oh. They're just kind of the
They're
same
wet
character.
blanket. Yeah.
So what was one of your other ones?
Let's see. Time and Punishment.
Time and Punishment.
It's one where Homer is trying to fix the toaster and accidentally makes a time machine.
Oh, that one
Oh.
is hilarious.
Keeps screwing up time, and just my favorite thing is when he goes back and everything's perfect. He's rich. He has a luxury car. His sister-in-laws have both died. And then
That's
he
right.
says, "Marge, can you please give me a donut?" She says, "Donut?
What's a donut?"
What's a donut?" And like he instantly just nopes right out of there. And like a split second later, they look outside and donuts are falling from the sky, and they're just like, "Oh, it's raining again."
I love how Marge delivers that line too, because she's like, "Oh, it's raining again." And even Maggie's got like a little tiara on.
And she has a golden like
She has
thing
a golden
coming out of her
pacifier, yeah.
pacifier. Yeah.
She's sucking on a big ruby, right? That was her pacifier, I think.
Yeah.
That's a good
Ow.
one. That one's the one Alice and I were talking about before the podcast started. That's Treehouse of Horror 5, which has the Nightmare Cafeteria,
Oh, and the
which
Shining.
we were talking about. Oh, yeah, and the
It's
Shining.
also a good one. Oh, and in it you hear Maggie speak.
Oh, and she has the really deep voice.
Yeah.
Oh, I remember that one.
Because that's one of the worlds. I think
Mhm.
she says something like you've come to a truly terrible place.
Yeah, or
something
this is the
very
wrong place.
ominous.
Yeah.
Yeah. Is that so? That's only that was the first time she had spoken, but has she only spoken twice? I think.
I think didn't they like promote like first time Maggie's gonna speak or something?
Yeah, that was when I was probably in like 5th grade, and she just says her first word is "daddy."
Oh,
And it
and
was-
James Earl Jones voiced Maggie.
Oh,
As
did
I'm
he?
learning
Okay,
Oh
Tom
I
my
was
god,
wondering
that's
who
That's
that was.
great.
I had no idea.
That's so
James Earl
funny.
Jones,
Yeah.
one of my heroes.
Right?
He's got the best voice ever.
Well, and that was another one that I didn't quite get. I got that it was funny and I liked it, but
Yeah.
later when I was looking through this, it was, I guess their inspiration for that was this Ray Bradbury short story, A Sound of Thunder, where like they
I've heard
invented.
of that, but I haven't read it.
It's pretty. It's like pretty prominent. It's really cool. It's a pretty short story too. Like it's worth a read. So they create this time machine. This is off in the future somewhere, and they create a time machine and they go back and they can hunt dinosaurs. But they have this really advanced system where they have this like floating pad that you walk on so you don't disturb anything and change the timeline. And
But you're still listening
no,
to
but you can only
dinosaurs?
kill dinosaurs that were going to die already.
Oh, okay.
So like they have it all set up where you can go back in time and do stuff but not affect the timeline, and somebody steps on a butterfly,
And which Homer does at
which
one
is
point.
where the phrase the butterfly effect comes from.
Oh.
So you step on a butterfly and they all go back in the future and everything is spelled weird and like the outcome of an election was different. Everything's just like kind of off. So it's sort of like Homer's
One
butterfly
One
effect.
butterfly.
So he goes crazy and smashes everything.
Yeah.
And goes home and is like, oh, close enough.
Close
Yeah.
enough. Everyone's got lizard tongues. That's all right, I guess. That'd
Yeah,
be kind
cool.
of useful.
Yeah.
Bring a lizard tongue. Why do I have to use my hands to eat? That's wasteful.
Well, based on the conversation we had 2 hours ago, I'm just saying.
The one where I shoved tons of ice cream in my mouth as fast as I could.
We just eat it like a little lizard instead. It would be good for eating popcorn, which I do anyway.
I do.
Everyone,
everyone
does that.
I feel like it would be bad for applesauce.
Ooh,
'cause it would
yeah,
just
it would get
splash
everywhere. Or like if you had spaghetti with like marinara in it, you'd have little red flecks all over the place. Well, we've gone off the rails, haven't we?
Yeah, again. We
Yes,
have
yes.
indeed. My mind. Oh, my mind. So I originally wasn't going to be on this podcast. Actually, I was going to take a bye. So I very quickly tried to refresh my memory. So I watched 1 and 2, and then I watched ones that I hadn't seen, because I think I stopped watching about season 9.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I think
Probably.
everybody stopped watching.
I think I
That's-
might have
Apparently
made it.
not.
I made
because
it
I
to
made
about
to the-
13, I think.
We last time we talked about this, you looked up the numbers to see what their viewership was, or their
Oh, yeah,
listen, whatever.
overall.
And they still are very high.
They're still-
even today.
Yeah.
Wow.
I know, right?
Well, I mean, I wonder if it's new because there's such a low barrier to watching that show. I mean, it's long. They have all these different characters who've been established forever and ever, but you can more or less jump in and laugh at what's happening at any point. Well, okay, but apparently people are.
Yes, people are. So
Well,
then I
I think
watched
it's
19
just
and
on
20.
anyway.
It's
Yeah.
what? Oh
It's just
yeah.
on.
And so one of the things I would say to whoever, this is Fox, right? They own
Yeah, it's
this,
Fox.
Is could you make it fucking easier to watch?
Oh, I know.
Right?
That was the
Difficult.
biggest complaint for us preparing for this podcast, especially considering how popular just the Treehouse of Horror episodes are. They
Right.
were
Yeah.
impossible to find to watch.
I managed to find them through memes.
I have friends.
They were streaming on a website.
They were streaming on my friend's VCR.
Yeah, it was just a camera pointed at my friend's VCR,
Right.
so it was all legal.
You were FaceTiming with somebody who was playing it on their TV.
Yeah. But like it was really difficult
It
to
was.
find.
Mhm.
They were.
There's a little bit on Hulu, but not much. There's a little bit on
Amazon,
but not
yeah,
much.
Not very much in the middle. So the
But-
first 2.
and even
and
if
then
you
there's
want
this
to
huge
buy
gap.
DVDs, the DVD is only like the first 3 of them, and then nothing.
Mhm.
You
can
could
find
buy
them on
VHS.
but that's about it. And then
Yeah.
they're really expensive.
Right.
Yeah, they
Because
were
it's a
really
collector's item
expensive.
now.
Right, yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. But so I watched 1 and 2, and then I watched 19 and 20. And
Which I have definitely not watched.
so the things I noticed, and Megan pointed out to me that this was limited memory on my part, is that the first ones seemed pretty mild, frankly. You know, they were clever,
Right.
funny, maybe a teeny bit scary if you were young, but not very. And then we get to 19 and 20, and we have like Krusty the Clown getting chewed out by a wood chipper. And spit out, like blood splurting everything. You know,
Yeah.
like they seem more violent to me. And then the jokes just seem stupider to me, which I think is what many people complain about the show in general.
Mhm.
So like there's one of them where it's a Transformers gag.
Oh.
And there's one point where Homer has been eaten by one Transformer and Flanders has been eaten by the other, and they're both half stuck out of the robot's anuses.
Oh.
Yeah.
Oh, gross.
Yeah, I mean, they're just like stupid gags like that where I'm
Poop
like,
humor.
yeah, I don't really find that funny anymore.
Mhm.
I mean, some of the stuff was still really clever, like they do a Mad Men gag,
Okay.
and they do a beautiful opening and,
Yeah.
and all of that kind of stuff, which I thought was really clever. But for the most part, watching them was torture to me. It was just torture.
Oh.
Well, and the thing that I saw, I was looking through some of the more recent some of the synopses of the more recent Treehouses, and it seems like a lot of it is, it's not even necessarily like horror or fantasy related stuff. I mean, Transformers, I guess, is, it's
Sci-fi,
sci-fi-ish, but
He's being generous.
yeah, but I mean, it's not like a horror, and Mad Men has
That's
nothing
not,
to
like
do.
yeah.
pop culture.
Right. It's
gags.
basically just their excuse to take an episode off of the normal Simpsons universe and let them inhabit other universes or let other things happen that might not ordinarily, because it would be a little too wacky a normal Simpsons episode.
Well, and they
And they
definitely
do.
did that with the earlier ones, but
Yeah.
a little bit more focused, I
Right.
think.
That's, I mean, like, absolutely. That's the whole idea is to get them out of the normal Springfield existence.
Yeah.
But I mean, at what point does it become not a Halloween episode?
So yeah, well, they also do Pumpkin Patch, the Peanuts.
Oh, it's the Great
The Grand
Pumpkin.
Pumpkin.
Yeah, so they do one of that with Millhouse, and to me that felt more like old Simpsons. It was clever. It was quote, I'm doing air quotes, cute, and it wasn't super violent.
Mm-hmm.
And that felt more like the kind of Simpsons that I remember. But all the other ones that I watched from the later ones, I was just like, really?
Mm-hmm.
I'm just not feeling it anymore.
Yeah.
Sorry, guys.
5 actually had one of my favorite endings, which I think it was an ending that was so gory that they might have gotten a little bit in trouble for it.
Really?
Is that the
It's the creeping green gas that turns people inside out. And then they do
And then
a,
they do a
big
chorus line.
musical
They do a
number,
chorus line,
and they're
yeah.
squelching all over the place.
Yeah.
I remember that
Did they
one.
get in trouble for that?
I'm not positive that they did,
Let's see.
but they might have gotten in trouble for that one.
Wow.
Well, and when Alice and I were talking earlier, I think as a whole, Treehouse of Horror 5 was a little bit more violent than some of the previous ones had been.
Mm-hmm.
Because The Shining gets a little violent, like when Groundskeeper Willie
Gets
takes the
axed,
axe.
Yeah.
Which is, granted, one of the more violent parts of The Shining.
Right.
But I remember that being a little disturbing as a kid.
Yeah.
And then in Nightmare Cafeteria, which is from that episode, it's a Friday the 13th
Mm-hmm.
spin. And that
Willie
one...
gets axed again.
Willie gets axed again, that's right.
In Time and Punishment, he also gets
Yeah,
Oh,
that
they
was
do it in
the
every
that
one
was
of
the
them?
running gag
Okay.
for that Treehouse of Horror.
That's what
But
makes
like there's the giant food processor that Milhouse and Bart fall into.
Mhm.
Nightmare Cafeteria in particular was pretty gory.
Yeah.
Is that
um,
also a Soylent Green reference?
It may have
It
been.
might
Oh.
have been. Anytime.
Yeah, because I
people
think
are-
they
mean,
were
yeah.
they were
Yeah.
feeding
Yeah.
they were feeding the children to the children in
Yeah,
that one.
that's-
It was part of it was the cafeteria. Yeah.
Is that a Pink Floyd's The Wharf?
Just throw whatever you want.
But yeah, I do really like the ending with the gas.
Mhm.
But as a whole, I think Treehouse of Horror 5 was a little bit more violent than they had been
Yeah.
for a while.
Well, and in The Shining, there's a great line where, there's that famous shot of The Shining where the elevator doors, the little boy sees them turn
Yeah.
to blood.
Right.
And so when Burns is walking them around his mansion at the very beginning, he presses the elevator button, and all this blood spills out, and he goes, "Oh, that's weird. The blood usually gets off at the third floor."
Yeah, that's actually my favorite bit from that
So
one.
good. Well, I love the ending of Treehouse 4 because it's the last one is Dracula, and then it ends and it becomes a Charlie Brown Christmas parody.
Yeah.
Where they're all dancing around and Milhouse is playing the piano like Schroeder, and it just goes so totally off the and like the complete reverse of this horrible, gory Dracula episode, and it becomes Charlie Brown. It's awesome.
That Dracula one has the great. This is a little lowbrow humor, but Homer's trying to stake Vampire
Yeah.
Burns, and Liz is Dad, that's his crotch.
It has one of my favorite lines from Abe because he says, "Oh, what does he say?" He says, "Quick, we have to kill the boy." And Marge says, "How did you know he's a vampire?" And
He's a
says,
vampire.
He's a vampire. Ah!
And at the end of that one, he's a vampire,
Yeah, he runs
right?
into the woods.
So one of my other favorite ones is King Homer,
Oh yeah.
which is that from Treehouse 2? What is that
No.
one
I
from?
remember. That
2
might have
is
been
all
from-
the nightmares.
I think it
This
might
is
be-
Nightmare, Bart's Nightmare, Homer's Nightmare.
Let's look it up. So that's it's Homer as King Kong,
Yeah.
which is just
It was in 3.
perfect. It's just perfect. Homer Simpson as King Kong. It's just so hilarious. They do the whole thing in black and white. And Marge is the female lead from King Kong. And there are just so many great gags in that. And at the very beginning, there's a great Smithers gag. And Smithers gags used to be one of my favorite things.
Yeah.
But they are putting Marge on the boat to go to the mysterious island. And Burns is like, "Oh, what do you think of her, Smithers?" And Smithers says, "Oh, I think women and semen don't mix." And Burns just says, "Well, we know what you think," and they continue on.
Well, then there's when they're like getting off the boat to go to the island. Marge has been laying out sunbathing, and she goes up to Burns and she's like, "Oh, are you taking me with you?" And he goes, "Of course, we couldn't leave without the bait. Bathing, the bathing beauty." Well, I covered that one up well, didn't I?
That's a pretty
It's such a. I love
the wordplay in that
the
one.
word.
Is
Yeah,
great.
like that, and
Yes.
watching the progression and watching him work through it. He's like, "Oh, that was great." It was like such a good Burns
The
moment.
bathing beauty.
Yeah.
And then I just love how Marge falls in love with King Homer
Uh-huh.
because she's Marge and she loves her big dopey Homer.
Yep.
The scene where he pulls her out of the hotel room and starts climbing up the building.
Oh yeah.
He's like climbing up the building. The guys are up above and the plane's like, it's taking a long time for him to get up here. We better go refuel. So all the planes take off. And then Marge is like in Homer's hand. She's like, you're looking a little flushed. Maybe you should eat more vegetables and fewer people.
Well, and then he only makes it up
Yeah,
3 stories.
He didn't even
or
make it
something.
up
Yeah.
three. He made it up like 1 floor. And he just completely falls over. And then she comes running up to him. He's not dead! After falling 1 story off of the building. It's hilarious. And he eats Shirley Temple singing on the
Oh,
Good
that's
Ship
my
Lollipop.
And he eats her dad at the very end, right after they get
Yes,
married. They're
he
standing
eats
around for a
Marge's
family
dad.
picture, and he eats her dad.
He's like
and she's like, "Oh,
slurping
homie."
down his leg right at the end. Oh, and I love how Barney, there's a lot of characters that I kind of miss from the episodes that I've seen lately, like
Mhm.
Barney and Otto and Mole Man. I haven't really seen them on the show anymore. But Barney's like, hey, monkey, want a peanut? And Homer takes the whole bag. Barney says, I said 1! And starts
Like,
kicking
yeah.
Homer. And Homer just walks away like he has no idea what's going on. It's just all these great gags. That's a good example. That's another like port of a good classic.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Story.
Yes, a good-
And they do a good. I mean, it's funny and it's well done, and they do a good job of subverting a lot of
Mhm.
sort of the constructs of movies from
Yeah.
the 30s and 40s and movies like that.
Well, and a lot of these ones that they've done of more classic things, it really seems to come from a place of genuine love
Yeah.
for the thing that they're also making fun of, like The Shining.
Mm-hmm.
You can tell that the writers actually genuinely really love The Shining, and they're paying homage to it while also
Yes.
poking fun at it. The
Yeah.
same thing with King Homer, but that Transformers one that you were describing, it sounds like they're really just making fun of it,
Or they're just
or
they're just like what I mean,
Yeah.
like I don't.
Quotes.
Yeah, right. Like, I don't
That
get
doesn't
that.
make
yeah, that makes no
Yeah.
sense to me.
Maybe you're like, let's try something modern. I'm like, no, don't do it.
Yeah,
Stop.
Yes, just
It's
stop.
enough of that.
So you said that so you not only did your favorite episodes, but you also did your favorite openings and closings.
I did my
Yeah.
favorite openings and closings. My favorite opening is the same as Nick's. It's where Bart's going through the gallery, and it was Rod Sterling's
The Night Gallery.
The Night
Yeah, the
Gallery
Night
that
Gallery.
it was based on. And
That
it's
was
just,
brilliant.
It's just so over the top, and it makes just walking through the gallery makes so many references.
Mhm.
I love it. And then, like I said before, my favorite closing was the green fog that turned
Oh,
people
Yeah,
inside out.
that's.
Okay,
I think
gotcha,
that's my favorite
gotcha.
closing too. That one's pretty funny because Bart wakes up from his nightmare and they're like, "Oh, everything's okay,"
Mhm.
except for that fog that turns people inside out, which is like that is not most definitely not okay.
Yeah.
Like,
My favorite. I also have a favorite final line from an episode. It's actually Bart Simpson's Dracula, when Marge says, "I'm the head vampire," and he's surprised, and she says, "I do have a life outside this house, you know." I was like, "Aw."
Good for you,
Good,
Marge. Good for you. Yeah, I remember that being a kid and being like, "Good for you, Marge. You get out of that
Yeah.
house. You're not just a mom." What is the one? Is it a different one where they do the Alfred Hitchcock opening?
Yes.
Oh yeah.
That's
And it's
that's
Homer.
one of my
It's
favorites.
Homer,
yeah.
yeah.
They do
Yeah,
the
for
whole
sure.
Alfred Hitchcock presents
Mhm.
music, and then Homer turns and says, "Good evening."
Yeah.
That's
I
a
remember
pretty
watching
brilliant
that
opening.
show. Yeah.
The other one that you recommended that we watch, which I don't know if I had. I mean, I had looked up which one it was. Citizen Kang.
Citizen.
And
Oh,
that
that
was
was from
in-
Sarah, who isn't with us.
Oh, okay.
Who didn't end up joining
Oh, you're
us.
okay. So that was Sarah's recommendation was Citizen Kang, which was from Treehouse 7.
Right.
No, there was one in there that I remembered. Oh, I remembered The Thing and I, where Bart and Lisa think there's something up in the attic, and they call the doctor, and Bart had this conjoined twin brother, and he was too
Oh my
evil.
God, I don't remember that.
I
Yeah,
remember
so,
that one.
like,
Joint twin brother.
Yeah.
They fed him fish heads.
and his name was Hugo, and he had to live in the attic because he was too evil to live in society. So I remembered that one. I don't know if I have just forgotten about the other ones. So Citizen Kang, this came out end of October 1996, so it was right before the second time Clinton got elected. So it was the Clinton-Dole race. And they do this thing where Kang and Kodos are, they abduct, well,
They
it's great.
abduct Bill
They-
Clinton and Bob Dole.
Well, they abduct Homer while
Yes.
he's like out fishing, and they're like, okay, well, and he goes, okay, well, I guess you're gonna probe me, and he like drops his pants, and they're like, no, we've reached the limit of what we can learn from rectal probes.
I loved Kang and
They're
Kodo.
so
yeah,
good.
they're pretty funny.
And like the way that they speak was just, oh god, it just gets me every.
I
like,
love the image of Bill Clinton and Bob Dole walking down the street holding hands.
Yes, and they're like, we're exchanging protein strands.
If you can think of a better way,
Yeah.
I'd love to hear it.
So when they abduct Clinton and Dole, so they pull Clinton out of his bed in the White House and goes, oh, is it noon already? And then they abduct Bob Dole, like, walking out of a building or something. And I love, he goes, Bob Dole didn't need this right now. It's like, you know, it takes you, watching this again takes you back to a time when you would watch the news and you would hear Bob Dole talk about himself in the third person 20 times a day. This is Bob Dole country. Okay, we know what your name is. You don't look anything like the other guy. You're you. We get it. But they replace, they themselves go and they replace Clinton and Dole, and like everything that they say in a debate is like, as long as this is a good and orderly election, you will all be bowing down to your alien overlords sooner
Yeah.
rather than later.
I like, he's like, the Clinton replacement says something about you'll bow down, always twirling towards the future, and everyone's like, yeah, twirling towards the future.
I like that they spray Homer in rum before
Yes.
they kick him out.
Yeah.
And he goes, I've seen aliens, they replaced the presidential candidates.
And
Bart
Bart's
just says, like,
okay,
okay,
Ronnie.
Ronnie.
Yeah.
Shall we talk? Do we have drinking game rules?
I do.
Ooh.
Of course, Bree has drinking game rules. What, are you
Everything.
crazy?
Life is a drinking game.
Well, you're winning in that case.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
All right. So, what's your first one?
Mine is each time someone does or says the right thing but doesn't intend to, you have to take a drink. Abe does it a lot. Like, that doll is evil, I tell you.
Evil. That's a great one.
He's like, I just want attention. So each time somebody does something like that, where they're like, we need to kill that person, or we need to do that, and somebody's like, oh, how did you know? You gotta take a drink.
Okay.
That's one of my all-time favorite lines when Abe says, "I just want attention."
Yeah.
Makes me laugh every time. Poor Abe. No one's paying attention to him. I'll have to think for a minute. Do you have a good one?
I was trying to think of one. I mean, I don't know. I kind of felt like I didn't know these well enough to think of a drink. I mean, there are ones that you could do that are episode specific. I mean, you could do it every time Willie gets axed.
Yeah. Well,
Okay.
especially
That's
in
a good
3.
one.
And
Yeah.
I think
Take a shot every time.
Yeah.
You're gonna get
For sure.
trashed
3
in
shots
20
in
minutes.
22 minutes. Let's
Well-
do it.
And I
Bring it.
think he gets axed outside of that one, but that in 3 they were like, he's gonna get the axe in every single one for sure. But I'm
Yeah.
pretty sure he may get an axe in another episode.
It
That's
was
a
hard
good
for me
one.
to make them Treehouse because I was thinking of I think for many gals, Lisa is your favorite character, and for me, I was always thinking, like you should take a drink every time you're thinking to yourself, they should just listen to Lisa.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They would just listen to Lisa.
She's
But
so
I don't know
wise.
if that's really Treehouse specific.
That's
you
just
know,
that's the whole
just
show.
yeah, right.
Well, my thought was you should take a drink every time someone dies.
Yeah.
And we'll do a special take a shot every time Willie
Willie
gets
gets
the
axed.
axe.
Actually, one of the things that I noticed across a few of them was they made a lot of, I mean, and this is throughout the whole series too, but I noticed it particularly in these, the Marge hair jokes.
Oh,
So
yeah.
Yeah, so
That's a good one.
in The Raven, there's a
There's
picture
a
of her where that goes
painting.
way up, and then there's a little picture off to the side, and her hair curves over and continues into another painting.
And it's just the very tip
Yep.
of her hair.
And then
that's
there's-
in that last picture frame.
And it's just
Yeah.
such a quick little thing, but in The Devil and Homer Simpson, when the chasm to hell
Yeah.
opens in the floor,
Her hair kind of gets sucked
well,
down.
she's got a cap on, like a like a nightcap. Of course,
That's
it's so-
gigantic.
Yeah.
and it gets sucked off into hell.
That's a good one.
No, that is a good
That's
one.
a really good one. That's what we're
Because
looking
now that you mention them, I'm going through all of them in my head. So,
Yeah.
that's a good one.
Go ahead.
I
You've got
do-
another
have
one.
more
I see
Keep
it.
of
going.
these, I do. If the episode ends on a heartwarming note, you take a shot.
That's a good one. Because that's about probably half and half-ish.
Mhm.
Yeah.
So every now and then you're just gonna, well, I'll make it half a shot just so you don't kill yourself. A couple big sips.
Yeah. Well, and I think they probably ended. And
a heartwarming sip.
Heartwarming sip. I like
Like a
that.
So that
nice
means it has to be
porter or
whiskey.
something.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Or
like
something.
a oatmeal stout.
Something nice and hearty.
But I think they probably, it feels to me thinking back that they probably ended more of these episodes on a heartwarming note than they did the regular episodes, just because they would go so dark and nuts, and then
Yeah.
they would kind
Gotta
of
bring it
turn it
back.
around on the end. Yeah.
That's a good point. Well, since we are watching The Simpsons, you should take a drink at any time Homer says go.
Yeah.
Well,
Yes, that's
indeed.
true.
Sure. Or eats a donut.
And in King
Something
Homer,
like that.
there's a giant resounding dough that echoes throughout.
Yes. So you should just keep drinking as it echoes.
Yes, to the Megan count.
Waterfall.
1, 2.
If you find yourself quoting the show along with the show, you have to take 2 sips. If somebody else is doing it, you take a sip. They have to take 2 sips.
If you catch them.
Yep.
That would
I
get
like
me on a
those.
few of these.
That would get me in quite a few of them because the earlier ones in particular I know quite well. Yeah.
That would get me pretty fun.
Yeah.
So
That should be a standing Educating Geeks drinking rule. We
Yeah,
have
it
what
should be.
we
It
have
should
the
be.
overused trope for
Ooh.
pan, zoom, enhance. So now it should be if you're hanging out with someone watching something and they're quoting whatever you're watching.
every time you catch them.
Yep.
Yeah.
Or if you're doing it. Is it just if they're doing it?
No.
Well, I think the
Yeah.
secret is you have to get
You have
caught.
to catch somebody?
Yeah.
I like
Has to
that.
be.
Yeah.
As
So
a little
the-
competition.
The
You
person
have to-
that gets
you
caught
have to,
has to
take
take
half a
an
bullet,
extra
'cause
drink.
You have to take a sip too, but they have to take 2
Oh, no.
sips.
Yeah.
Taking
Take an extra
We
drink
didn't
of
get
my
to
delicious
see Bree
beer.
do her little hand motion thing.
We
So-
all are very active talkers.
Here we are.
Any
have-
other
Do you have more
drinking game
drinking?
rules?
Yeah.
I see one more.
I have, if Maggie speaks, chug the rest of your drink.
Oh, that's
it
a good
happens
one.
once, but you have to chug your
Yeah.
head,
That's
whatever's
right.
in your hand.
So
Yeah.
what would be good is if you have people who've never seen it, because all the people who've seen it would be like, okay, it's coming up.
Yeah,
Get
get rid of
there.
this.
Oh,
Get
Yeah.
see,
rid
I
of
only have
this.
a little bit left.
Yeah.
Then all the people who don't know, they're gonna have like,
Oh man, you should have lines that are like mandatory to say in each episode. This is
Mhm.
my suggestion to you guys. Have a line that is mandatory to say in each episode, and just like kind of fill up a cup with a conglomeration of whatever you guys are drinking, and whoever forgets to say that line has to chug that cup.
Oh, that's a fun drink.
That's good. It's like King's Cup, but you have to pay attention to the TV instead.
Yep.
Or the computer if you don't have a TV.
yes, or the streaming of your friend who's watching.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
episode. Because Fox
The
is
handheld
stupid.
camera.
That's quite an ingenious method.
Uh-huh.
You get some smart points for that one, I think. Do what you gotta do, Bree, to prepare for the podcast. I like it.
Well, and I would say in the vein of whenever Maggie speaks, you have to chug. You could also do whenever James Earl Jones makes a voice appearance.
Oh, that's a
Oh,
good
that's a good
idea.
Yeah.
That's a good one.
That's a really good one.
Let's have a good voice, that one.
Mhm.
And if somebody's like, "Why are you guys chugging?" That person has to chug too.
You don't know who James Earl Jones is?
I know, right?
Get out of my
Yeah,
home.
exactly. What are you doing here? Why are we friends? Oh goodness. So, Bree, who's our resident alcoholic. Just kidding.
It's true.
I'm the best alcoholic this
You
week,
see,
though. I
that's
can
who
keep
you
up with
are.
Bree.
Okay,
Oh, yeah.
good. So then the both of you ponder on this. What would be the Homer drink? What would be the Marge drink? What would be the Bart drink? What would be?
I feel like Marge would have to be something very sensible and very, just like a real.
Although one does see her with a martini quite often.
That's true.
She does drink
She
martinis.
does.
Why
But do
not
you-
a Blue Lagoon?
Ooh, I could.
Oh, for the hair? That would be a
Yeah.
Yeah,
nice
something
touch.
with like blue curacao in it.
That
Oh
sounds
my
very
god,
nice.
if it was like, oh yeah, if there was that in it, and then maybe like lime because she wears that green dress.
Nice.
Maybe
nice.
there's a. Oh yeah, it could be
Or
like a
green
blue.
apple peel.
I guess
garnish.
Homer would be beer, right, Duffs?
Yeah.
He would be
Duffs.
I think he'd be a yellow pilsner.
But
I
mean,
was thinking just straight
I think
Budweiser.
it's got to be something. I mean, I almost feel like Budweiser isn't cheap enough to be the real life equivalent of Duff's. Like it's got to be like Schlitz or something. Something disgusting. Yeah, beer 30 exactly. So I've discovered there is a deep blue sea martini, which is blue curacao, sour mix, and pineapple juice.
Perfect.
That
You
sounds.
could
I
do
like
that.
the
Sounds
sour.
Yeah,
Because
you could do the
Marge,
sour mix.
Marge has got a bite to her.
Yeah,
I like-
she has a life outside the house.
She does.
I guess Lisa would probably be the more sensible drink than
Yeah.
Marge
She'd
would.
probably just
There's
be
that
a
episode of The
twist.
Simpsons where they go to the company picnic and Marge gets completely blasted.
Groundskeeper women would be whiskey, Scotch
Maybe
whiskey.
Scott, yeah.
Yeah,
Oh,
it'd be
yeah.
Scotch.
Scotch
Is that
whiskey.
racist? Is that racist?
Did
Is
you guys
that
hear
is
that,
that
Jen?
ethnicist?
Yes. Whoa.
Did I invent a word?
I think you did.
Use it 3 times now. It's yours.
Ethnicist. All right, it's mine.
Bart would be Fireball.
Ugh.
and
Yeah.
Yes.
Or-
Fireball
Oh.
and root beer.
You know what? He could be.
Oh!
No, you know what?
Fireball with a root beer chaser.
Bart's a flaming Dr Pepper shot, which is like it's.
He just
no.
blew Bree's mind.
Let me explain this to you. So you take a beer
Okay.
and you fill a shot glass mostly with amaretto, which is like a sweet
Yeah.
mixer,
Yes,
and then
I
you
hate it.
put a layer of Bacardi 151 on top.
Oh, do you flame
You
it?
light the Bacardi 151 on. You light the Bacardi. You
Yeah.
blow it out. You drop it in the beer, and then you drink it, and it tastes like a Dr Pepper because of the amaretto.
I'm not allowed near open flames because I'm so sold to booze. So
It's a
not a
safety
shot for
precaution.
me.
So thanks again for listening to our Simpsons Treehouse of Horror episode. Don't forget that you can find Educating Geeks online. We're on Google+, Facebook, Twitter. You can just search for Educating Geeks and you'll find us. And we are now at educatinggeeks.com. So for the Geek hosts, I'm Megan.
I'm Nick.
Alice.
Free.
And thanks for listening.